Hello there! If your spouse came to the United States with a visa and is now married to you, a US citizen, I will explain to you exactly how to get their marriage green card without leaving the country. As an immigration attorney, I have helped hundreds of US citizens just like you get green cards for their spouses so they can stay together right here in the United States. And in this episode, I will walk you through exactly how you can do it too. But before we start, to help you understand everything I'm going to explain to you, I want you to download my free guide for the marriage green card process. I will leave the link right here in the description so you can get it. Marriage-based green card cases, those are my favorite type of cases. I love hearing the couples' love stories, and I also love preparing my clients for their interviews. To me, this is the most beautiful side of immigration law, and that's why I focus specifically on helping couples stay together and get those green cards they need to start their life in the United States. The first thing that you need to know for this process is that if your spouse came to the United States legally with a visa, for example, with a tourist visa, and is now married to you, a US citizen, your spouse can apply for a green card from within the United States, and they don't need to leave to their country for a consular interview. This is something people get confused about. I have people contacting me all the time asking me if they need to leave the country to get the green card, and the answer is always no if your spouse came here with a visa. Also, since your spouse is considered an immediate relative of a US citizen, a visa is immediately available for them. Your spouse doesn't have to wait for years like in other family categories for a visa to be available, and this makes the process way easy, way faster, and straightforward for you. You need to know that in your case, USCIS will focus on two main things. First, that your marriage is real, meaning you marry your spouse for love and to build a life together, not just to get this person a green card. This is not how it works. Second, that your spouse is legally allowed to get a green card inside the United States, which means your spouse must be admissible. So you understand how the law works. If someone is inadmissible, the law doesn't let them enter or stay in the United States. Examples of things that can make a person inadmissible can be certain criminal conviction, also entering the country illegally, or breaking certain immigration rules like committing marriage fraud or misrepresentation. If your spouse have a criminal record or any kind of immigration issues, it is best to consult with an immigration attorney before filing. This is to plan the right strategy. If your spouse has a criminal record, for example, it is not impossible to obtain a green card, but we need to pay more attention to their case and plan a good strategy, which might include maybe filing a waiver. If you would like to talk to me about your case, there is a link here in the description where you can schedule a call and I will guide you. To apply for your spouse's green card, you will need to prepare a package with forms and also with supporting evidence and send it to USCIS. Before filing out any form, my recommendation to you is to go to the USCIS.gov and read the official instructions for each form you are going to submit to USCIS. In the USCIS website, you will find the filing fees, the correct version for the forms you need to file, and the mailing addresses where you need to mail your package based on where you live. Now let's go through each form you will need to include with your spouse marriage-based green card package one by one, so you know what each form is for and who needs to sign it. The first form that you must absolutely include with the package is form I-130. This is the family petition, and in my opinion, this is the most important form because this is the foundation of the entire case, and you, the petitioner, sign this form. With the I-130, you should include evidence that your marriage is real and made in good faith. You need to understand this. USCIS is looking for fraud. So to get approved, you must show them that you and your spouse are building a real life together, not just filing because you want to get a green card for this person. Some examples of great evidence to include with your I-130 is, for example, a lease, if you have a lease together. If you have a house together, the deed showing both of you as owners. Also, joint bank account statements. That can be also for a credit card or a debit card. It doesn't matter. Those things are helpful because immigration wants to see you are commingling finances. Another example of good evidence is car insurance or health insurance, listing both of you in the policy. And also utility bills. It can be electricity, water, heat, whatever services that you have in your home. If you can put those services under both names, this is going to be very helpful for your case. And of course, if you have children together, their birth certificates showing both parents are the strongest proof of a genuine marriage, because logically USCIS immigration is going to see that you are loving each other and that you are making babies. So birth certificates are the prime evidence for a marriage case, in my opinion. In my free marriage green card guide, I also included a detailed checklist of good faith marriage evidence to include with your I-130. The link is in the description. Download it. It's going to be very helpful. I also recommend reading the official USCIS page and instructions for Form I-130 for more details on what immigration expects from you, what documents you need to include, and how to complete this form. Very important that you read the instructions. The next form is Form I-130A. This form is to collect additional information from your spouse. Your spouse have to complete the Form I-130A and sign it. The next form that must be included with your package is the Form I-485, and this is your spouse green card application. Your spouse have to sign the I-485, and this is where your spouse officially asks immigration to grant them permanent residence. The next form that must be included with your package is the Form I-864. This is the affidavit of support. And so you understand what this form really is. It is a contract. It's a legal contract between you and the government. And you have to show that you can sponsor your spouse and that they won't become a public charge. So what you need to understand with this is that the government wants to make sure that you are not bringing somebody to the United States that can become a liability for the government, that the government will have to financially support that person with public services. That's what they want to make sure you make enough money to be able to take care of your spouse. But there are ways to go around this. If your income isn't sufficient, let's say you don't make the amount that immigration requires, you can add a co-sponsor. The co-sponsor will also have to sign its own Form I-864. So even if you don't meet the requirements, the income requirements, you will still have to submit one Form I-864 for you and another one for the co-sponsor. The next form is Form I-693, and this is the required medical exam. You have probably heard about this exam. Your spouse will have to go through these exams to be able to get the green card. And the medical exam have to be scheduled with a USCIS authorized civil surgeon. And please don't worry, this is not a surgeon. Your spouse is not going to get any surgery. This is how immigration call doctors that are authorized by USCIS to perform the medical exam. Okay? So you will have to pay the fee for the medical exam directly to the doctor, and once the results are ready, they are going to give your spouse a sealed envelope. Very important is that you don't open that envelope. That envelope have to be sealed and you include it with your package. In the description right here, I added the link so you can find an authorized doctor near you. The next form is Form I-765. This is the work authorization, so your spouse can work legally while the case is pending. The work permit is optional, but I highly recommend it if your spouse is planning on work while the green card application is pending. The next form that, in my opinion, should be included with your package, although it is also optional, is Form I-131. This is the travel permit or advance parole. The I-131 is also optional, but I recommend everybody to get it in case there is an emergency and your spouse needs to travel. You must know that that your spouse should not leave the United States until the I-131 is approved. Because if they leave the United States without the travel authorization, USCIS can consider the case as abandoned. Also, there are other issues that can come from leaving the country. So my recommendation is that you consult with an immigration attorney before your spouse travel outside the United States, with or without the travel authorization, because of the risk involved with leaving the country before USCIS make a decision on your case. Now let's talk about fees, because you know this is not going to be for free. The government wants you to pay for this application, and this is what you need to know. Forms G-1450 and G-1650 are used to authorize USCIS to charge the filing fees. You should use G-1650 if paying via ACH, direct debit from your bank account, or you can use G-1450 if you are paying with your debit card or your credit card. In my opinion, the best form to use for payments is the G-1650. I have a lot of issues with the G-1450. Very important. Use only one payment form per application that requires a fee. For example, if you are submitting the I-130, the I-485, and the I-765, each one needs its own separate payment form. My recommendation is for you to always double check the current fees on the USCIS website the same day. Listen to this, the same day you are mailing your package, because the fees can change, okay? And once you have all the forms completed and all the evidence ready, it is time to send your package to immigration. My recommendation to you is to make sure you scan the entire package into one PDF or make clear copies of everything that you are sending to immigration. From now on, you have to keep record of what you are sending to immigration, as well as record of everything that immigration sent to you in case you need it in the future. To mail your package, the first thing that you need to do is to check the USCIS website for the correct address where you need to be mailing your package, depending on where you live and how you're sending it. Send your package with a tracking and keep the receipt with the tracking number. This is for you to be able to confirm if the package was delivered to immigration and for any issues with the mailing. About 7 to 10 days after you mail your package, USCIS will send you the receipt notices. They call it Form I-797C. And this form confirms that USCIS received your application and also that they received the payment. Very important that you save the receipts, because they will have also the case number, which you can use to follow up with your case. Around 2 to 3 weeks after you mailed your package, your spouse is gonna get a notice for a biometrics appointment. And that's when immigration take your spouse's fingerprints and photo. Nothing to worry about. It's a very simple process. And in many cases, in about 2 to 4 months after the application is sent, your spouse will receive the work permit and also the travel permit if you file for those. When USCIS is ready to make a decision on your case, you will get a notice for an interview. I don't want you to panic. Most couples have to go through this interview as part of the process. You and your spouse must attend this interview. And this is a very important step. This is the time that USCIS, an officer from immigration, is going to interview both of you to evaluate your marriage and to see how you interact in person. Now, you're probably asking, how long will this process take? I know this is nerve-wracking. And what I have to say about processing times is that they vary a lot. I have seen cases approved in 4 months, others in 8, 10, 12, or even longer. Every case is different, and the time also depends on the local office handling your application, so it's really hard to say, but from 4 months to a year, that is the normal that I'm seeing lately. If your marriage is less than 2 years old at the time of approval, your spouse will receive a conditional green card. That green card is only valid for 2 years. Before the conditional green card expires, you will need to file a form. That form is I-797C I-797C and that form is used to remove the condition on the green card. But if you have been married for 2 years or more, your spouse will receive a 10-year green card right away. So that's very exciting. Something very important that you need to know is that if you stay married, your spouse can apply for US citizenship in only 3 years after getting the green card. This is amazing. I love to see my clients progress from being undocumented to becoming a US citizen. This is the most rewarding part of my job, seeing the transition and seeing the positive changes in my clients' lives. If you need more resources, download my free marriage green card process guide. It is my way of saying, you got this. Click the link in the description to get it right away. And if you want to keep preparing for this process, I invite you to watch my next video. It will help you a lot.